So what is it about emotional noise that's so powerful?
Well, just simply on a human level, how our brains work, how we're wired up neurologically to be in relationship and connect with people. We have this simple thing called a fight and flight mechanism. And the noise around us, the noise in us activates that.
Yeah.
And we can go one of two directions. We can fight or flight. When we lower the noise, we can say, I neither need to fight with you, nor do I need to run away from you. I can answer your calls. I don't have to avoid you in the workplace, or I can talk to you about what's going on at home. I don't have to avoid that.
I've noticed in this crisis that there's a third response that people have that's been very powerful, and that's to freeze.
Yeah.
It's just sitting because they have no idea what action to take.
Yeah.
That's productive.
Yeah. And we've seen that in the social media with all the memes about people sharing the drinks they're having at night after they've sat in front of the screen, or just the stress of, not having a paycheck.
Just staring at a screen all day versus touching, versus the presence. We're just now beginning to understand the impact that's having on us, the stress that it's causing.
And I think one thing we're starting to realize is we actually need community, and that the workplace provided us a lot of community. So as people are coming back out of this, there's a hunger for community, but there's also the crisis, and that can become a concoction for conflict as people reorient, re-engage, and companies ramp back up again.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about this idea of emotional noise, because it really is a critical issue to think about as we're working through this back to relationship. I don't know what normal looks like, but we are going to come back and be in relationships again. So where's emotional noise start? What are the components of emotional noise?
Usually it's going to come from some sense of threat. That could be something outside of us, or quite often it's something inside of us, an expectation, a need, how we perceive something. We will have this sense of something's not okay here, or I'm not safe here, or what I need isn't getting addressed here. And that's where the noise will start. The emotions will start to pop out of that.
Yeah, emotions are very powerful. We talk about threat. We talk about feeling unsafe. We talk about feeling like we're not being heard or not being valued. All of these things cause us to feel things. That's why we call it emotional noise. And one of the things that sometimes it gets confusing is that because emotions often cause us to do things that either harm ourselves or harm other people, the emotions get blamed.
Yeah.
And there's really nothing wrong with emotions. Emotions in and of themselves, as you've said before, are really more like the dashboard lights on our car.
Mm-hmm.
So when the check engine light comes on, when you're driving along and you feel that, your gut tighten up, oh my gosh, what's wrong, You have a number of options with that light. You can ignore it, keep driving. You can cover it up with some black tape and pretend it's not on. You can smash it with a hammer so it doesn't work anymore. You can take a lot of actions toward those lights, but the lights are just there to indicate something inside your car. And if you really want to handle the dashboard light, what do you have to do? You got to stop, flip your hood open, and hunt around.
Right.
What's going on. And that's what we have to do when we talk about emotional noise. Emotional noise really comes about through three primary factors. When you feel an emotion, you feel it for one of three different ways, either from something you expect, or something you need, or something you perceive to be true or not true. And if you think about it, every time you feel something, if you stop just for a second, you can ask that question, which one of these three buttons got pushed? And pretty quickly you can figure it out. Give an example.
Let's take in the business world, something wasn't delivered on time. A project didn't happen on time. There was an expectation that it would happen on this certain date. And now up the chain, a boss is frustrated because he or she has to report up. And now we start to think about this employee that didn't deliver on time. What do we really think about them? How are we perceiving? And so all that starts to rattle around. And I think the important thing about emotions that business owners need to understand is it's valuable information. When they understand what they're feeling and potentially what their people and their clients are feeling, that is valuable information to start to meet need and start to move away from just making the pain go away to actually solving the problem that produces the pain.
And you can get granular on this because if you think about it, the guy who didn't make the delivery, and so you've got something that's late, that comes from an expectation. I expected that to be on time and it's not on time. And so now I'm either angry or I'm sad or frustrated, disappointed. But it goes all the way down into our own personal lives. When we expected to get a phone call that our car was ready at 5 o'clock and we didn't get the phone call and we wonder what's going on, we feel the same thing. We feel sad or angry or disappointed or frustrated. We might have to call them back ourselves and find out that was a lot more wrong with it than we knew about. And so not only are our expectations not met, that it would be a quick and simple and cheap fix, now a need is being pushed because I don't know if I have that much money in my bank account, to fix that right now. And so, my need to feel financially secure and to feel safe, to feel in control is not being met. Just a simple thing like a car repair pushes, and my perception now of, wow, I should have saved more money for this. I'm not a very good money manager. And my wife's really going to be angry that we can't go on vacation because of this, so perception that I'm just not the husband I'm supposed to be. You see how quickly one little piece of information taps all of these things inside of us, and dashboard lights go off all over the place. And so how do you respond?
Well, the first thing one needs to do is just kind of say, what's going on with me? How am I right now? How are you right now? It really is an emotional gut check, because if you don't pay attention to the light, you can't follow the wire down to where the problem exists, and you won't be able to address the problem. That's why it's such valuable information, and developing almost an emotional vocabulary for yourself. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm happy, I'm upset, and being able to identify that with yourself. That's the first step you have to do. You have to say, what do I feel? I know this sounds very psychobabble-y, heartfelt, but what plays out in home and other places still plays out in the business world. And ignoring it is to ignore vital information to move our mission and our vision forward.
We take actions because of these things. We'd never act out of a vacuum. We always act how we respond, how we speak, what we say, what we do, everything, all the actions and words that we say all day long, they come from our values and they come from these emotions, these ways that we see and perceive our world. Why are we getting granular about this? Why are we talking about this in this detail? Because if you understand how emotions work, that is a very powerful tool to understand how to lower the emotional noise, how to lower the mental and the emotional, kind of the gut level chaos, the tightness of the chest, the rumbling in the stomach, the confusion in your mind, the feeling you are out of control. Those don't happen by accident. They happen because of this noise that we're talking about. Well, once you understand that, and just in the moment when you're trying to lead, your C-suite team, or you're trying to lead the managers and the HR people and all the people who are trying to figure out how to come back off of COVID and put their people at ease and allow them to do their jobs effectively, one of the things you're going to be dealing with right at the beginning is going to be the amount of emotional noise in the room. And if you can be someone as a leader who recognizes that in yourself and recognizes it in the people around you, and you can lower that noise, you're going to have a much more productive environment to solve the actual problems that you have, but you can't ignore it.